Welcome to Association Edge, brought to you by Kelly Dando Consulting. Here we share practical advice, smart strategies, and proven tips for leading boards, managing associations, and growing stronger organizations. Whether you're a board member, a volunteer, or an association professional, you'll find insights to help you lead with confidence and make an impact. This is your edge in association management. Let's get started.
Welcome to episode 3 of season 2 for Team Talk Tuesday. Today we have a wildly unpopular but very, very important topic of board succession planning and the problems related to getting new board members and how that looks for each chapter. So we have Jamie and Emily on the team back for our Team Talk Tuesday. So let's open up by talking about, what do you do when you have a board member that has been on the board 10, 15 years, let's say 3-4 terms, and they just will not roll off? How do we handle that? And what do you see from a chapter that has a board member that does that?
I do really think that it is kid gloves, though. So kid gloves, and I think, you have to do the sandwich thing. Thank you so much for all of the time and effort and blood, sweat, and tears that you've poured into this. You've been here a long time. Could you help me train someone new to replace you? That's my answer.
I think it's really, when you have that problem, it's a good and a bad problem, right? It's awesome that someone wants to be involved in your organization for that long, but it can get stagnant. Emily, what do you see?
I think that is on the other board members, primarily the president, to have those conversations. But I do think there is a nice, gentle approach to it. I think what you said at the tail end there, Jamie, you said, how can you help me train someone? So I think not just giving them the, heave ho, but saying, hey, we need to think about the future of the chapter, word it that way. Let's bring in some new members, kind of some fresh blood into this. And there's so much to learn from you. How can we learn, moving forward, share your knowledge with people?
Well, I think too, it kind of depends on the camp that they're in, right? Like, you have the board members that have been there for a really long time who are like, it's my way or the highway. And I think as an admin and probably the collective board will realize this might not be the direction we want to keep going. Or if it's the person that's just there because they want to hang out. Still an effective board member, but they want to hang out. Well, hey, let's make you an honorary member. And if you want to come to these meetings, still great. We value your input, but let's get some fresh perspectives in here. Let's utilize that pipeline we've been building.
Well, and the reality is, if they're set up from the beginning where they have their term limits in place, you don't have these issues. But I will tell you, you rarely take over association where they don't have these issues. But for example, we're producing now a document for a lot of this where it's a spreadsheet, right? And it actually takes the bylaws and puts in what your term limit should be based on your bylaws. And then basically we have a sliding, year 1, these are the people that roll off. Year 2, these are the people that roll off, or they're up for re-election. And we're doing a lot of re-elections now, right? And we've even heard from 2 boards, right, Jamie, that they're not changing at all. And that's scary to me, because I feel like even if you have a 2-year election cycle, basically half of those people should be cycling off that are up for election if you're following the rules properly. Right. So when a board says to me, hey, we don't have any changes this year, that's kind of scary to me. What do you all think?
I agree. I mean, even if you don't have people rolling off necessarily, I think you should have people coming in. Maybe 1 or 2 new people, because I agree, a full board transition, which I don't think that's necessarily going to happen in these cases, but could you imagine having a whole new board? Everybody's brand spanking new. Good for business, but it could be a struggle.
Well, and I love when we produce that spreadsheet, because speaking of, when a new board president comes in, they're like, oh, this is the expectation. So this is the term limit sheet. This is when everybody rolls off. It's very cut and dry for new presidents, right? Because here's the other thing we see. Tell me if you guys see this, but I see some chapters where they kick the can down the road. Well, I'm off in 2 years, so I'm just going to let this slide, and then it'll be the next president's problem. And then that's how you end up with board members that have been on the board 15 years. What do you all think?
Yes.
I've seen that as well. I've seen that as well.
And I think we've talked about too, some boards get a good board, which is great, a great, active, involved board, but then they all just switch positions for, let's say there's 10 of them for the next 10 years, but you're not bringing on anyone new. So when you all get tired and somebody's going to have to come in and give you the heave-ho, it becomes a problem for the people who are coming up.
Well, and that brings us into a good segment, which is how do we get new, fresh ideas on the board? How do you solicit for board members? We always want to say the best practices, they come from the committee structure, right? Mm-hmm. We have some organizations that don't have a lot of committees. And frankly, some of the committees are board members. So how do you recruit people for the position of board if you don't have that committee structure in place?
One thing that I did with a recent group was we looked at their attendance over the past year, each of the attendance sheets, and we're like, okay, who was at a lot of the events, who participates in other things within the chapter, even if they're not on a committee, and using those people as a start. I think having the direct outreach is helpful. I know I've had different groups where I've put in the email like a call for board members or call for committee members. That doesn't always get people to email you right away, but a lot of times that direct ask is much harder to say no to. So yeah. I think there's that. But I think looking at attendance and encouraging people to speak up, and even speaking to what the board does at meetings so that people are aware of the time commitment and that kind of thing is helpful too, just familiarizing them with the positions.
I've had a board who just put out, send in your nominations and you can nominate yourself, and they ended up getting 4 people.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
Okay, that's great.
Were they quality? I mean, were they people? So I hate to say this, but a lot of times we see those. There's somebody who's been a member for a hot 5 minutes and they don't know how the organization operates. And that's, to me, could be dangerous. So were they more tenured or?
I should have done my research, but I didn't. So we're going to find out.
Not yet.
Starting in the next few months. It's a pretty large board though. So, I mean, they could get a sharpshooter in there and see what happens, but it'll be interesting to see.
Well, and that's another thing. A lot of the bylaws that we see are very rigid, and then some are flexible. So which do you all like? I personally like the flexible ones. I like the ones that have room for growth, that say up to, for example, up to 17 board members, or to me, those are easier to work within the constraints of what the bylaws state. But some people don't like that because they want to affirm our board is 10 people. It's made up of this. This is what happens every year. What do you all think?
I kind of like both, honestly. I like aspects of the flexibility of it, but I also like the rigidness of like, hey, these are the rules. Follow the rules, because we have some that have those bylaws and they're like, I've been here for 40 years.
Yeah, and that's a good way to make sure that you're getting new people incoming and getting people out, is following the bylaws.
Well, and how do we rotate out founders? Because that's another tough thing we deal with. Sometimes we have founders that are still on the board and have been there for decades. I will tell you, one of our clients does something that I love. They set up an award named after this original founder, and they transitioned him out. And every year they give out this award, and he comes back to hand out this award. And I absolutely love that system.
Yeah, that's a nice idea.
In a previous life, I made an emeritus board, and that worked.
We have seen that too. It's basically a non-voting, non-decision board that can help with nominations, fundraising.
That's a good way to honor people too.
I suggested member-only jackets, but they didn't go for it.
You know what? I have had a client suggest that. They wanted to do like the Masters and have jackets with the emblem. I kind of love it.
I like it if it's supposed to be kooky, but if it's supposed to be serious, I don't know.
Well, think about it. You go into a room and you see all these jackets. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. You're like, wow, everybody in this room is a board president. That's awkward.
Yeah. Oh, then they should have their flair, like shows how many years they've been there.
Like the military, all the little lines of ranking.
I was thinking more like Office Space, but sure, just like the military.
So other ways that I've seen where you can get board members active, and I don't know if this is a good or bad thing in retaining board members, but the boards that have lunches, they provide lunch for all the members. It's funny because I feel like those boards, the ones that really like each other and come together regularly, those boards are almost harder to get people off of. Because they feel really tight and they're friends and they like coming every month and having lunch. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it's like a little club.
Like I think saying we can still be friends even if you're not on the board is fine too.
Yeah, but that takes action on both parties.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we also need to talk about the board people who are just like, all right, I did my time and I'm done and I don't want to do anything else.
Well,
See you again never.
Yeah.
or board members that are inactive. How do you deal with that? Or board members that are inactive? What do you guys think for that?
That's something that's really interesting, I think, in my time here with Kelly Dando Consulting, is that there's been a big shift within the past 5 years of board members who just wouldn't show up for anything. And now I feel like, if somebody doesn't attend a board meeting or an event, it's because they had a schedule conflict or whatever. I feel like I'm dealing with a lot of really active and engaged board members, which I think is great.
Oh, that's good.
That's interesting. Do you think that that's just a post-COVID thing, or do you think people find their time more valuable and want to get something out of it? It's an interesting thought. I wonder what's causing it.
Yeah, I'm thinking about one chapter in particular right now that we manage, and I think it's because everything is kind of new again and they have fresh ideas. And, we were very strategic in laying out the entire year, and I was holding them accountable to it. And I think, having that accountability and a board president and vice president who are like, hey, we want to see you at these events, like make sure they're on your calendar. They have the responsibility. The onus is on them.
Well, and do you feel like we get better attendance when we control the calendar request? For me, I feel like when I send out the calendar request from the chapter email, I almost get a better reaction, or people respond and say, hey, I feel like people are more comfortable responding to me saying, hey, my daughter has a basketball game that day, I can't be there, than they are the president, that could be someone higher up or a CEO or CFO of a company. What do you all think?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think it differs chapter to chapter, but the majority of the invites are coming from, the chapter's email account.
Yeah. Well, and I think if we can keep boards that keep the meetings consistent, like Emily and I have had a few where we're like, holy smokes, could you please plan a board meeting? The ones that say, hey, we meet on the third Wednesday of every month at 11 o'clock. We send out the calendar request. I feel like we get better participation at those.
I think so, for sure.
It's also the same for member events. If you have a calendar, people can plan. You can plan around that. If we set the calendar at the beginning of the year, then you can schedule your dentist appointment at another day, another time.
Yeah.
Well, and I love that we're talking about who participates the most too, because we've been pulling a lot of that recently for clients, for participants. And you would think that when we pull that list, it's all board members, but it's not. I pulled it for a chapter the other day and the majority were non-board members, which is such an interesting collection of volunteers that you haven't tapped into.
Yes.
That's a good point.
What do you all think about what should we do for the boards who are planning events, but then it's mostly board attendance? How do we shake that up? Because I have a few who are experiencing that.
Go ahead, Emily.
I've seen where it's required for a board member to bring a new prospective member every other month, or setting the standard where it is on the board to be kind of recruiting. That should be part of their duties as a board member. And that's something that I think would help people realize, okay, we're not wanting to have board members on for 30 years. Is you are in charge of recruiting for your position, when you roll off after X amount of terms.
I had a board member at a board meeting last week who said they were trying to pitch some new folks for the committees. And the member said, well, everyone that's on this board is on the membership committee. And I was like, yes. Set those expectations.
Yeah. That's interesting. So this is obviously a hot topic for us because it comes up a lot.
Yes.
And
especially this time of the year.
It is. It comes up a lot this time of the year. So as we finish the year end, as we do fiscal year ends, we have lots of questions about boards and how we handle that. And so I think the key is to stick to term limits, right? That's
right.
What we've talked about. That's what we've heard. Back to what you were saying earlier, Jamie, I think if I had the issue where only board members were coming to a meeting, I think I would first look at the marketing. Mm-hmm. So are we getting it out far enough in advance? Who's opening the emails? And at that point, I think Emily's right. It's either a bring a friend situation or a personal call to members. We have so many chapters that make that personal call.
Yeah.
And the majority of the time when they make that call, the person's like, oh, I didn't even get that invitation, because people all know how many emails we get during the day.
Right.
A whole nother topic on creating.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I have another question for you both. So what would you do in a situation where, we're there as the admin, we're there as support, and you have board members who are just directly reaching out to the board president all the time. So much so that like we're copied on it, right? But they're asking the board president for stuff that we could be helping with. How could we train these board members or even members better to know that, you know, we're there as a resource for them? Because I feel like sometimes those board members can get like super in the weeds with those emails. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think maybe that's why I really like the board orientation packet that says, hey, the board's responsible for setting strategy and we can get into the weeds for you. Just give us your strategy.
Yeah.
I think that, and a lot of boards aren't getting that. Like they're not receiving that at the start of every year. So I just created a board packet for one of our clients, and I love doing it because what do we include? We include the bylaws, we include systems we use, because a lot of board members do like to know the systems that we use. What do they have to have usernames and passwords for? Typically it's not a lot, but sometimes they like to get involved, right? So I think giving them that data is helpful, but also I think just replying all and saying, hey, we're here to help. If you need us to do this, we can take care of it. And a lot of it is up to the president, right? So the question is the president doing it for them, or are they saying, hey, I've got Jamie will help you? Because I feel like in most cases, the president's going to be like, why are you sending me this? Send this to Jamie.
That's why I'm here.
Unless the president really likes doing it, which we do have several of those.
Yes. And those are the presidents that can stay for 40 years.
Yeah. Treasurer. I feel like our treasurers are the ones that stay for 40 years.
Man, that's a whole other conversation. Which board role would you want?
Yeah.
Let's not answer that.
Okay, what's our question, Jamie?
Okay, so we just experienced the first Friday the 13th of the year of 2020, to all who celebrate. And I want to know, is there anything that you're superstitious about?
I am big superstitious with sports.
Really?
I will sit in a position and not move. I had one time where parents came home I was babysitting, and the parents came home, and it was a playoff game, particularly St. Louis Cardinals. And I said, I know you guys are ready for bed. Unfortunately, I am going to need to just stay here for the next 2 innings because I can't leave this spot. It's like a line of my mom, grandma. It's all my mom said. Our family's just always been, I don't know, we just learned
you
young
invited back to
superstitious.
You live with them now.
I think they were sports fans and they understood.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
But
I would say, yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I mean, I won't purposely step under a ladder. I never open an umbrella inside. But I would say sports
Emily's way more
particularly.
I know. I didn't see that coming.
What about you guys?
Born on the 13th. So 13 is a lucky number for me.
Yeah.
So Friday the 13th is a good day. Jamie, let's hear yours.
It doesn't have to be Friday the 13th for you to have a superstition, though.
I really
That's when you
don't.
think of it.
I don't feel very superstitious. I mean, I can't think of a time where I've been superstitious.
Okay.
What about you?
I was also born on the 13th. I was born on 7/13, so I feel like those are like super lucky numbers.
Yeah.
I wasn't born on a Friday the 13th, though I kind of wish I was. Things I'm superstitious about. The only thing I can really think of is if I see salt that has been spilled, I have to throw it over my shoulder. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know where
I do that one.
I don't know the origin of that. It's just a thing. Like we were at a restaurant the other day and the salt shaker someone had knocked it over. It was not me. But I was like, I got to pick up this salt shaker, force it in my hand and throw it over.
Wait, what happens if you see the salt shaker that has spilled salt and you don't throw it over your shoulder? Like, what's the superstition? What happens?
I don't want to find out.
Bad luck.
Bad luck.
7 years.
I would not want to break a mirror. I mean, I
that counts.
I wouldn't want to break a mirror. No bad
That
luck.
A lot of mirrors.
That counts.
I run towards the black cat. I don't go under ladders though, just because that would be awkward.
Safety hazard, really. That's
You can just go around it, like it's not a big deal. But no, I don't think I have any other like big ones. Like I feel pretty normal.
all right. Well, thank you for your question again, Jamie, for making these fun for the listeners. So we are going to start our speaker series. We're taking a little bit of a break until the 1st of April, and then we will continue our series with speakers that are guests. So thank you all for joining us, and we will see everyone soon.
Thank you.